Hi, my name is Vicky. Thanks for stopping by today. I hope you're having a great day. So today on Amazing Wellness Life, we're going to talk about your body and how it actually works. Dr. Jason Fung wrote a book recently called The Hunger Code. He's a New York Times best-selling author. He's written like 6 books, and I think the first one was The Obesity Code. And today we're going to talk about our metabolism a little bit because metabolic health is really, everybody's talking about it these days. And the most important thing that I want you to take away from this is that if you have been trying and you just can't seem to lose the weight that you want to lose, I know you can do it. It takes time, and there are literally hundreds of ways that your body can gain weight and hundreds of ways that your body can lose weight. And so don't be frustrated. Don't give up. You are important. Your life matters and your health matters. So I know I was on a journey for a couple of years and I managed to lose like 45 or 50 pounds. I'm still trying to lose weight. But honestly, if you do it the healthy way, it'll stay off. And I've kept it off now for like 4 years. So I'm here to help. And let's get into this. So I'm sure you clicked on this because you wanted to understand why it's not your fault. Okay, one reason it's not your fault is because your body was actually created to store fat. Now, that doesn't seem very convenient to people who live in the modern world, but anciently, that was really, really important because they would go for long periods of time. I mean, in the Bible, you read all the time about this famine and that famine. So, it was really a blessing that our bodies store fat, because if there's not food around, we've got this walking storage unit of fat that can feed us, and we can live off of that. So I've always thought, wouldn't it be great if you could just open up those fat cells and just not eat and just let your fat cells run the show. Well, they actually can do that, and that's called fasting and intermittent fasting, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about how your metabolic rate works, because your personal metabolic rate is just like the thermostat in your home. When you get too hot, you turn the thermostat down because you want to cool it off, so the air conditioning comes on. And vice versa. If it's too cold, you want it to warm up, so you turn the heater on so that you can have, so everybody can be warm and toasty. Well, your body works in a similar way because it doesn't necessarily want you to lose fat, because it wasn't created to do that. So we have to understand, how can we actually open up those fat stores so that we can use them. And Dr. Jason Fung has some great things to help us. Oh yeah, and by the way, because of what YouTube's policies are, I can only share short clips of his. So
phenomenon where the body sets a sort of optimal level, and if it goes above or below that level, it will activate mechanisms to get it back. Just like your room thermostat, you set the temperature, and if it gets too hot, it's going to activate the air conditioning to cool it down. If it gets too cold, it's going to activate the heat to bring it back up. Either way, it gets to that optimal level. And you see that all mission critical systems in our body must maintain an optimal level, and body fat is no different.
So I have created this little chart for you, and I hope it makes sense to you. I just thought I'd put it in here because when your metabolism slows down because you're deciding that you're going to put less calories in there, you're not necessarily going to get the result that you're looking for. Just like Dr. Fung says, your body says, oh, you're not going to feed me and you're not smart enough to go out and find food. Well, then I'm going to turn your metabolic rate down, and then you're not going to be able to burn as many calories. And so what's the result? It's going to be, you're going to put on weight, you're going to plateau, you're going to stop losing weight, and you're probably going to be cold, and you're going to be tired, and you're going to be hungry. And that is one of the main problems is you're going to be hungry, which means hunger always wins. You're going to start grazing, you're going to start looking for food, and before you know it, all the great intentions you have of, holding yourself off from that food that you just, your body is just craving. And it's probably protein, to tell you the truth, because a lot of times if you're grazing, it's because you didn't eat enough protein at your last meal. So anyway, let's get back to Dr. Fung.
Who set this thermostat so high? Let's turn it down. It's the exact same thing with our body fat thermostat. If we are overweight, if you simply count calories and you lose weight, but your body fat thermostat is set high, you're going to activate mechanisms to bring your body weight back up to that overweight status.
Just a thought. When you're worried about things, life can be very stressful, and that can raise your cortisol and it can cause you to gain weight. So try to put a little peace in your life, and hopefully that'll help.
Just like your thermostat doesn't heat up the room, it activates the heat or air conditioning to do that. Same thing, our body fat thermostat sets the level, but then it activates hunger or satiety and metabolic rate to get us where we need to go.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if all we had to do was eat and put our food in the bank, and then we could go out and just pull it out whenever we're walking or running or exercising? Well, it's not that easy. So anyway, back to the video, listen to Jason.
If you are overweight, it is because your thermostat is set too high, which is making the calories in, calories out a problem through the mechanisms of hunger, satiety, and metabolic rate, which you do not control. You can control your calories, but you can't control if you're hungry or not. This is called homeostatic hunger, and it's crucial to understand this if you want to lose weight.
As I mentioned before, I'm not allowed to show the full clips of his videos, and so I made this little chart to show some different types of hormones that you might run into. One is ghrelin. I call ghrelin the grouchy guy because he is the one that is like always starving. If you see a kid that's hangry, they've got ghrelin going on because the ghrelin wants food and it wants it now. So it unfortunately, if you get sleep deprivation, you'll definitely have ghrelin working overtime the next day, trying to get you to eat carbs and sugar and all the wrong things. So the good guy is the leptin. He's the one that tells the brain, we're all set. We're not hungry anymore. We're good to go. And so you get the leptin as kind of the stop signal because you've been, eating things that are nutritious so that you're satisfied and you're not still hungry and your body's not still craving, protein or fat or whatever. Or nutrients, because you haven't eaten enough vegetables, you haven't eaten enough, proper food, then the ghrelin is going to be grouchy and trying to get you to eat more food. And the leptin is just saying, if you just eat the right foods, then we won't have to worry about it. So anyway, just as I said, back to the video because I have to have short clips.
It's not simply calories in, calories out. It's the thermostat, which is adjusted by the hormones, which then activates hunger or satiety or your basal metabolic rate, and that's going to push you up or down.
So I think by now you're getting the idea that really it's not so much about calories as it is about the foods that you're eating, making sure that they're satisfying your hunger so that you don't keep wanting to eat. Because I know over the years, what I found was as I became better at the quality of food I was eating, I could go for a long time without eating. It wasn't bothering me. So I want to encourage you, maybe it's hard to change everything at once in your life, but maybe leave a comment about something that you might be able to give up or might be able to change. I know at one point I just decided that I wanted to give up bread, and not everybody wants to do that, but for me, I really liked bread a little too much. So I think for me that was a big thing when I decided to do that. And I thought I was gonna die, and I, tried to like find keto bread and all that stuff. And I did do phases of things. I didn't like totally change everything in my life at once. I literally just did one thing at a time. And I think that you can do that too if you're not in a total rush. Like if you're in a super hurry because you've got to fit in a wedding gown or something like that, that's different. But honestly, most of us just need to make better choices on a regular basis. But it's hard when the hormones are fighting us. And so, how do you make those better choices when you've got hormones screaming at you all the time? I think you just start prioritizing trying to eat real food. For one thing, eat real food and go through your cabinets, donate a bunch of stuff. That's what I did. I donated a bunch of stuff to the local food pantry because I was like, you know what? I don't eat pasta anymore. So I just donated all that stuff. And so, anyway, I just want to encourage you that this is doable. You can make this happen for yourself. You can have a more, amazing wellness life of your own. So, also, if you don't mind, if you could, leave a like on the video and maybe even share it with a friend that might find it interesting, or subscribe. If you feel like you could subscribe, I would love to have you in the community. So, and please leave a comment because I read all the comments. I just love people and I like to see what they're doing and encourage them. And so if you're willing, please, please do some of that. All right, back to the video.
And all it says is that a calorie may be a calorie, but not all calories are equally fattening. Who believes that cookies are as fattening as broccoli? Like, who gets fat eating broccoli? Like, nobody. So obviously the number of calories is only a single part of the equation. Yes, eating 2 cookies is worse than eating 1 cookie.
I wanted to throw this chart in here because Jason Fung talks about satiety a lot and how to increase satiety or satisfaction, basically. And so if you look at the chart up to the left, it talks about nutrient intake, eating your food. And then it goes into your stomach and your intestines. And then the nutrients go out and they stimulate hormones. Hopefully you've eaten good food like protein and vegetables. And so those nutrients are actually going to feed your body. But because of the GLP-1 that you naturally produce with protein without a drug, just by eating protein, maybe eggs or whatever, your satiety and your glucose is going to be balanced. You're not going to have that spike in insulin, which is really important when you're eating food. So I loved this chart because it also sends signals to the brain. Everything's okay. You don't need to freak out. Your pancreas is going to stimulate enough insulin that's required, but not a super huge amount to spike the insulin so that it's going to cause you health problems. Because spiking insulin over time is what leads to metabolic dysfunction and disease. So I thought this was good. Also, the GLP-1 protein, as you know, slows gastric emptying and it helps your stomach to feel like it's full and it doesn't need to be eating again anytime soon. All right, back to the video.
But eating equal calorie portions of cookies and eggs are not the same because they stimulate different hormones. And these different hormones are going to push up or down your body fat thermostat. If you are eating constantly all the time, you're eating lots of refined carbohydrates, what's happening? And these different hormones are going to push up or down your body fat thermostat.
Here's our special little chart again in case you wanted to take another peek. I did want to let you know that in the description below, I am going to leave the link to Jason's longer sciencey video. And then you can also subscribe to his channel if you want and things like that because he does, give a lot of great information. And let me know if you think this format of a video is okay, or if you'd prefer to just have me talking. I just feel like a science, authority has more authority than just my word. All right, back to the video.
If you are eating constantly all the time, you're eating lots of refined carbohydrates, what's happening? You're stimulating insulin all the time. What does high insulin do? Pushes up your body fat thermostat. You're going to gain weight. So it's not simply the calories that are important, it's also the effect on the hormones. If you eat a lot of high protein foods, you're going to stimulate a lot of GLP-1, which is going to push down that thermostat. If you eat
So I do need to just remind you that Dr. Fung is great. He's a medical doctor. I'm not. I don't have a medical license, and so these videos are just for educational purposes and for me to share my experience with people and to encourage people. So with that disclaimer in mind, feel free to finish the video. Okay, so we're coming in for a landing. Jason is just about to wrap up, so I'm going to wrap up with you as well. I want to thank you for, coming to share your time with me, and hopefully we can learn together, and hopefully this has been of some help to you. But I did want to encourage you to do a couple things this week. One of the things I want to encourage you to do is do a hidden sugar audit. Do you know what that means? It means look at your labels and look for sugar. There's lots more names for sugar than sugar. There's dextrose, sucrose, all kinds of different names. And so look for those sugar names on your labels. You'll be surprised, even in ketchup. It's ridiculous. But anyway, and also give yourself, do a grazing check. See how often you're eating between meals, because I don't do that. I literally get satisfied or satiated at my mealtime, so I do not need to be snacking in between meals. In fact, it's really bad for your glucose, because if you're eating every 3 to 4 hours, which it infuriates me. When my husband went through his nutrition program, the nutritionist literally told him as a diabetic he needed to eat 6 times a day and have snacks, 6 small meals. And I was like, okay, great. But that was the advice, and my husband did it for a long time, and then he realized he was just gaining weight. He wasn't losing weight, and so he chose a different path. But anyway, I do think that snacking is one of our worst enemies, because it literally, if you're going along, you have your meal, and then you wait 4 or 5 hours, your blood glucose is not going to spike. It's going to go up a little because you just ate food. It goes up for everyone. And as long as you're eating real food, it's not going to go up much. And then it's going to come back down into a normal level. And so it needs to wait 4 or 5 hours between meals until the next one. And then it will go up again, and then it will come back down. And the nice thing is, after you eat your last meal of the day, which I would encourage you to eat it by 6 p.m., and then stop eating. Don't get that popcorn while you're watching a Netflix show, which is very tempting not to do that. If you have to have anything, have a small handful of nuts or something like that, or have a tiny amount of cottage cheese or yogurt or something with no sugar. But you really just need to think more about what you're putting in your mouth, and especially at night. That is the worst time. I think nighttime is like everybody's weakness time, because you're tired. And honestly, sometimes I just tell myself, if I start feeling like I'm going to get hungry at night, I'm like, I'm really not hungry. I'm just bored. I need to go to bed. So I drink a big glass of water, and I take my medicines, and then I do all my stuff, and then I go to bed. So anyway, I just want to encourage you to have a great week. Hopefully, get on your own amazing wellness path. And if you're already on it, awesome. Encourage some other people to be on it, and encourage those of us in the comments, say nice things to each other. That's one of the blessings of knowing people and helping people, is you can encourage each other and help say nice things to each other. All right, well, I'm going to turn it back to Jason, and we'll finish off. And thanks again. Take care.
So you need to understand how these affect eating behavior. That's what homeostatic hunger is. It's the hormonal drive which ultimately manifests itself in either hunger or satiety. Because remember, the key is controlling the hunger, not the calories.